Hi, it's Jim with Cyber-Recon. I wanted to continue talking with you today about RMF 2.0. Specifically be talking about task P2, which is risk management strategy. Let's jump into the slide deck. This is task P2, risk management strategy, part of RMF 2.0. Task P2, the title of this task is Establish a Risk Management Strategy for the Organization that includes a determination of risk tolerance. Potential inputs are the organizational mission statement, organizational policies, organizational risk assumptions, constraints, priorities, and trade-offs. It's important to have these documents to start with because this gives the definition to what the risk management strategy would be based on. The organizational mission statement is what the organization is in business or in service to do. Accomplishment of this mission is important to overall accomplishment of the goals of the organization. Expected outputs of this task are a risk management strategy, a statement of risk tolerance, inclusive of the information security and privacy risks. That means we'll have a strategy that covers both the tasks of determining the controls and the risk posture for both security controls and privacy. The primary responsibility for this task is the head of the agency. So this is a strategic task. It's not conducted by the system owner. The system owner uses this information to build their information system level strategy, but it also gives guidance for that system owner for what they will do to build that strategy. Supporting roles include the senior accountable official for risk management or the risk executive function, the chief information officer, the senior agency information security officer, and the senior agency official for privacy. As you can see, this is a document that's created at the senior level. Again, this is done at Tier 1, not at Tier 3. So this document will provide guidance for those system owners, information system security officers, and system engineers at the system level that will help build the security program and implement the RMF at the system level. But we first have to start at the strategic level at Tier 1 so we know how to build our security program and our security strategy at the system level so it feeds into and interlocks with the organizational risk strategy. Risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is the degree of risk or uncertainty that's acceptable to an organization. Risk tolerance affects all parts of the organization's risk management process, and risk tolerance has a direct impact on the risk management decisions made by senior leaders or executives throughout the organization and providing information constraints on those decisions. So if we think about risk tolerance, that's the amount of risk that the organization will tolerate. So if we think about it in other terms, if you're driving down a highway and that speed limit is 55 miles per hour, you might be able to go 60 or even a little bit faster and not get pulled over. So there's a tolerance level above the posted speed level that the police will normally let people get away with. So that's the same thing in risk. So we have a risk appetite, and that's equivalent to the speed limit. And the risk appetite is where the organization likes to work. That's where the police would like you to drive at the posted speed limit. The tolerance is a level above the posted speed limit, above the organizational risk appetite that is allowable for an achievable short-term goal. And then our risk capacity is the total amount of risk we can have in the organization, and one little bit more would cause catastrophic failure in the risk program. That's never where we want to operate. We always want to operate at the risk appetite or the risk tolerance level. Equivalent to that is if we're working at the full capacity on the highway, that means we've run our vehicle to the full capacity it can take, and that's where we're probably going to get a ticket. We may get an accident. Something like that may happen. So it's important to understand risk tolerance, risk appetite, and risk capacity. So again, the risk appetite is really where we want to be. That's the sustainable risk level for the organization. Risk tolerance is a level above appetite where we can operate for a short period of time for an attainable goal. And the risk capacity is the total amount of risk we can accept as an organization, and any level above that will cause a catastrophic fail. It could cause the organization not to accomplish its mission. The risk management strategy. The risk management strategy guides and informs risk-based decisions, including how security and privacy risk is framed, assessed, responded to, and monitored. The risk management strategy may be composed of a single document or separate documents for security and privacy risk management. So when we talk about framing it, we frame risk in the local situation, how it is framed to our organization. So some things we may be more willing to accept risks on, and some things we may be risk adverse to. Then we have to determine how we're going to assess risk. How are we going to determine the level of risk we have? And if we go over that tolerance level, how will we respond to risk, and how will risk be monitored in our organization? Explicit output from risk management strategy. So once we develop the risk management strategy, there's going to be some things that we can determine. So the risk management strategy makes explicit the threats, the assumptions, constraints, priorities, trade-offs, and our risk tolerance level. This information is used for making investment and operational decisions, including operational decisions like should an information system be placed into operation on the live network. So think about this. What are the threats to our organization? Both physical, cyber, and administrative. So threats may be, maybe we're being targeted by specific hacktivists, or maybe we are being targeted by nation-state actors. What are our assumptions? Are we assuming that our exterior firewall protections protect us? Are we assuming that we trust the workforce we have? What are our constraints? Are there requirements that we have to follow, like FISMA or HIPAA or PCI requirements? What are our priorities? What is the most important thing? And that's why we need to know what our organizational mission statement is, because the things that support that mission statement are going to be our priorities. What are things we can trade off? Can we not do a specific thing, or can we not implement a system and instead use something else? And then, of course, what's our risk tolerance level? What is the level of risk we're willing to accept above our risk appetite? Strategic guidance. The strategy includes the strategic level decisions and considerations for how senior leaders and executives are to manage security and privacy risks, including supply chain risks, to organizational operations, organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, or the nation. So we have to have a strategic guidance statement that tells us how we are going to deal with risks, how we're going to manage risks, and how we're going to respond and react to risks. The risk management strategy expression. The risk management strategy includes an expression of the organizational risk tolerance, acceptable risk assessment methodologies and risk response strategies, a process for consistently evaluating security and privacy risks organization-wide, and approaches for monitoring risk over time. Now we're putting that strategy into place. How are we going to do it? We're stating in the document what our tolerance levels are. We're stating how we're going to respond to risk. We're defining our process for evaluating risks organization-wide and defining how we're going to monitor risk over time. We also have to worry about supply chain risk management. Organizations define and implement the risk management strategies, policies, procedures, and processes. It's important that they include supply chain risk management considerations. The risk management strategy for security and privacy connects security and privacy programs with the management control systems established in the organization's enterprise risk management strategy. And in this case, we're linking those lower level systems to the enterprise level risk management strategy. So every system, every privacy program, every security program should directly link to the enterprise risk management strategy when we're talking about risk management. So now we have linkage from Tier 1 through Tier 2 and down to Tier 3. References for this task are Special Publications 830, Special Publications 839, Special Publication 800-160 Volume 1, Special Publication 800-161, IR 8062, IR 8179, and NIST CSF Core Identity Functions. I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon. Hopefully this video helps you understand Task P2 and those things that are required at the organizational level for your organization to correctly implement the RMF. If you like this video, please hit that button there to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, share with your friends, comment below. We'd love to hear what you have to say. If you're interested in learning more about the RMF, we're hosting an RMF version 2 security training course that you can register at this site over here. To sign up, just visit cyberrecon.com. Until next time, I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon.